What's up, guys? Just got a haircut, first video in a while. Decided, was doing some thinking. I decided that I'm gonna, release longer form stuff on YouTube. I remember doing these videos like a long time ago where I would just walk around random cities around the world when I was traveling a lot, and I would just upload stuff, and everyone loved it. Or not everyone, but people loved it, and yeah, like, why not? So I have tons of things to talk about always, right? But today I want to talk about astrology and some of the things I see it getting attacked, right? In mainstream places like on YouTube and just all over, right? Like there's the whole idea of like the astrology girl, that a lot of men will kind of talk shit about, and you know basically, and like, when you get into different areas of the internet, you start to hear like different debates, right? People are having flat earth debates. People are having, and I'm not saying anything about any of that. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, we only know what we know, we only know what we know. And then the rest is basically up to, our intuitions and our minds and our experience, right? Like, what has my experience shown me exists? So, whenever I hear stuff about astrology, about like just anything about it, it being bullshit, it's just like, I do readings for complete strangers, right? All I know about them is their birth information and their gender. That's it. Where they're born, their time, their location. Well, I just said that. Date of birth, location, and time of birth, their name, and I don't even look at a photo of them, right? And I'm still able to give them this advanced psychological, and karmic, and just all, like, I'm able to give them this breakdown of their own life, their own personality, their own, the potentials that they have, right? The karma they're dealing with, some of the obstacles within their inner psychology, right? That this is things that, these are matters that psychology, modern psychology, is so far behind. Astrology, the way I do it, at least, because I do have the psychology degrees, is psychology on steroids, right? What I can do in a few, in one session, one recorded session, it's different, right? Working with a therapist is different. It's more hands-on. It's more about, it definitely gives a lot more time. I think astrological counseling has the potential to just like blow, like, if I was able to, like, I don't really do much of that. I did for a while, and I'm still open to it. I just never advertise it. But like, if I did, like, the results are crazy, just taking the chart deeper and applying it to the everyday life. I'm actually gonna go back this way because traffic. But yeah, so that's kind of like, for me in my head, it's just like, I hear people like, I don't know, I watched like a flat earth debate on YouTube last night. I'm just like, nothing, like, I don't laugh or mock anything. Like, I've seen how, like, I'm an astrologer, like things like astrology, people can laugh at them, but then when you realize it's actually real, it's actually running shit, what do you do? How do you rearrange your mind? But the point is that, there would be no way that I could do what I do, which I get incredible results, right? I get people messaging me back, just about every reading I do, blown away. And it's because they're able to experience God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, higher power, through the fact that I'm able to just only look at their natal chart, right? And through my techniques of analysis and my intuition, I'm able to tell them things that maybe they've never voiced to someone else, or maybe they've never been able to put into words, right? So there's magic in that. And it's just something like when you see like a really master numerologist, right? They can predict things. A very master Vedic astrologer, right? Their predictions are so, so it's less about astrology and all these other occult sciences, occult art / sciences, it's less about any validity to that and more about how good the person is, right? It's like if you're shitty at math, then you're not going to figure out the equation, like it's the same logic, right? It's like if someone's a bad painter, they're not going to be able to replicate something that you want them to paint me this this tree. They're going to fuck it up. But that doesn't mean that the tree isn't a tree, right? That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And that's how astrology is. It's very complex, and there's lots of layers to it, right? There's lots of layers, and people have different ways of looking at it, right? So like my way is very unique. I taught myself, obviously I read a lot, but I always kind of sifted through like what I believe in, what I don't. And I just think that a lot of people are very, very closed off to it, and it comes from certain people who talk about it in a way that's very cringy. Let's just be honest, right? It's just like very simplified sun sign astrology, and it's created kind of a bizarre name for astrology today, right? And people in today's world are so obsessed with black and white thinking, and they're also very intellectually lazy, right? And what I mean by that is that people don't want something so massive. Like the implications of astrology, accepting astrology in your life implies for most people that you'd have to rearrange your entire ideas of what is truth and what is not. And that's a big load. That takes a lot of bravery, right? It's the same thing with like different conspiracies and stuff like that. If you believe in those, then there's and also there's a social aspect, right? Because it's not accepted, and people can easily get shamed for that and be seen in a certain way. And people don't want to be seen in a way that's like, where they feel where people think that they've lost their mind, or people think that they've gone off the deep end, right? They want to, a lot of people want to just be chill and, keep their job and not have drama, and also just not rearrange their whole idea of what life is about and how it works. So, just a few things, but what I can tell you undoubtedly, via my experience is that, there's no way I could be so accurate if it wasn't a real thing. And, just the amount of synchronicities, it's just really about dipping your foot in and giving it a chance, right? Because if you don't give it a chance, you're like when someone's giving you a reading, right? You're always gonna be saying that, you're always gonna be thinking, you're gonna be in like the negative kind of like defensive mode, right? Where you're always gonna be thinking, oh, like what can I say to counteract that? Or how can that be seen as like a blanket statement, or, blah, blah, blah. So it's very rare, but I think that, one of the biggest advantages, it's literally like being able to understand God's language. When you get to a high enough level, even just understanding your birth chart, just getting your chart read by someone like myself can be life-changing. It has been for so many of my clients. And that's why, like I call it psychology on steroids, because it really is, so much more potent than psychology. Of course, I personally, I use both together, but last thing I'll kind of talk about on this topic is like, that is one of the challenges, right? That is one of the, in life, like, for each good there's a bad, and for each white there's black. There's an opposing force, law of polarities. So the polarity for astrology and kind of being in this esoteric world is that there's going to be a level of difficulty with people who just don't get it, right? There's going to be kind of a social, like, there's potential for like social disputes, and for people for feeling like misunderstood and judged, right? And being put inside a certain box. But like, I feel like that exists for so many things, right? It's not just astrology. And at this time, like like, yeah, you have like those risks. It's just and that's like what the sign Aquarius and the Leo Aquarius axis teaches us about. Is like, who gives a shit? Like the amount that you would benefit from learning and studying this and opening your mind and your soul to this spiritual journey that is astrology, right? Embedded in astrology, it is times a million, right? It's so much more. And even within that, there is a sense of getting over your own ego, because it's only the ego that needs to be. Of course, humans want to be loved, but you will find people that love you for who you are. And at the end of the day, it's magic. And us who study this are ahead of our time. And it's really just starting. I think it's going to get more and more popular, but it's always going to be esoteric, which means hidden. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the video. I only have 11 minutes, so just want to kind of put this out on YouTube, and I'll talk to you guys later. Ciao.